What up, YouTube? Welcome back to Strategic Social Networking. I'm DJ, or you can call me Daniel if you like. And the subject of today's video is how hard do YouTubers really work? How hard do content creators on the web really work to earn a living? Well, there appears to be this humongous stigma on platforms like YouTube that somehow, YouTubers and the content creators here really don't work that hard to earn a living, and I see it in the comments sections of videos on YouTube all the time. People saying, "Get a real job, you're lazy, you're just trying to make a fast buck, you're a bum, get a real job." Well, I think that's a really terrible really terrible to judge people that you don't know and just make assumptions about their circumstances and how hard they work. How would you know? Have you created a channel on YouTube? Have you worked in the media? How would you know how hard a journalist at a publication on the web works? How would you know how hard a YouTuber works? Most of the people saying this stuff, you go look at their profiles, they never even made a video. Okay, they don't. What do they really know about how hard it is to make a living on the web? Well, here's the thing. I have spent over 5 years working in the media myself. I went to college for information technology back in the mid 2000s. Back in 2008, I went to college at a community college here in St. Louis. And I can tell you from experience, man, building anything on the web and building an audience, building a brand for yourself or for whatever your purpose is in the web, it is not a walk in the park. You are totally wrong. You're totally mistaken, and I can back up my mouth. I can practice what I preach, and I'm going to show you the media I built on the web that I spent tens of thousands of hours since 2012 working to build an audience for. And it was not free, and I haven't even made any money from it. I just worked to absolute death on it. It was not a walk in the park to do it, and now I'm pulling these brands out into YouTube and trying to find a way to build revenue for them, because unfortunately I really don't get much of a paycheck out of it. The people that manage my brands, they're just really cool people, and they've stuck by my side for whatever reason. But yeah, a lot of people stuck by me, thank God. Very grateful to them, but I want us all to flourish. But we'll get into the other specifics, later on in the video. For right now, the point is that a lot of people assume that content creators on the web do not work that hard. YouTubers do not work that hard for a living. Well, you know what? Before I get into all the media I work to build in the web, I'm going to backtrack, okay? Before I ever went to college for information technology, computer science, and all that stuff, and before I ever got involved with computers, I hated computers back in the early 2000s. I hated them. I wouldn't touch them with a 10-foot pole. I didn't want to have nothing to do with them. Okay. Back in the 90s, throughout the course of the 90s, and through up until through the early 2000s, up until 2004, actually it was really till 2005. I worked in the restaurant industry for over a decade. I started working in restaurants when I was 14 years old. I had my first job when I was 14 years old working at a Subway restaurant in California. And my brother was a GM. He was a general manager, and he was 16. Okay, and I can tell you from all of those years, I've been a restaurant manager, I've been a waiter, I've been a cook. I've done it all. I've done it all in restaurants. And I can tell you something I learned from years, from over a decade of working in the restaurant industry, is that working in a restaurant does not require any intelligent thought at all. Even when I was a manager, it does not require any intelligent thought. You do not have to be a rocket scientist to manage a restaurant. You do not have to be a nuclear physicist to flip pancakes, to serve somebody a drink, or to clear a table. Okay. Now, it's physically taxing to work in restaurants. Yes, I'll agree with that. It is. It's physically taxing. So is the work you do on the web. And until you've done it, you wouldn't know that. It's not all just sitting in a chair and staring at a screen. That's not how it works. Okay, and I'll get into that in a little while. What the complications are with managing media on the web. So the first thing to note here is that yes, working a physical labor job, it is taxing on your body. I mean, I can't count how many times I came home from work working at even fast food restaurants, and those jobs were really easy. And you work 12, 14 hours, you come home, you're just like, man, I'm just so exhausted. And sit down restaurants are a little bit tougher. They can get a little bit more complicated. But after going to college for information systems, information technology, computer science, and all that, and getting involved in all this media on the web, man, I can tell you hands down, the work that I do on the web today to manage all the media brands I built is like 100 times harder than any work I ever did in a restaurant. This is way, way, way more challenging than any restaurant work I ever did. In fact, if I had the choice, I would be back working in a restaurant right now. Hands down, I would take a restaurant job over this in a heartbeat. This work is so incredibly difficult and complicated. Just it's so mind-boggling. It's so hard to keep up with. And then you have all these, there's a lot of negativity on the web. You have a lot like here on YouTube. You have people that just want to see the world burn, and they have no lives. They're just miserable, and they're gonna go channel to channel, and they're just gonna vomit all over everybody's videos, and so forth. And so, it's really, really a shame too that people are so negative and they're so judgmental towards people they don't know and they know nothing about, and they're gonna sit here and tell you you don't work that hard and all that. Obviously, these people, you know what I think? I think not only are they just being disrespectful, I think they're and that they're ignorant. I also think it's a matter that they've never had a job. Anybody who's worked hard for a living, okay, and I know this from experience, anybody who's ever had a real job and actually worked for a living would not insult somebody else's hard work because they know what it's like to work hard for a living. They would not insult somebody else's hard work. If you're one of those people that's on YouTube running around to people's channels telling them you don't work that hard, get a real job, you've never had a real job. I can tell you point blank, you're lying. You've never had a real job. You've never worked a day in your life. And there's a lot of people out there, a lot of self-entitled trash out on places like YouTube that people go around and tell people get a real job. People should make videos for fun. Yeah, you know what? You're right. I guess I'll just tell the electric company that next time my electric bill's due or when the mortgage is due, I'll just tell them, you know what? You're right. You know what? You should just you should just not charge me my electric bill for fun. That's not how it works, dude. We all have bills to pay, okay? And a lot of us, in case nobody realized it, the reason that we're on the web, the reason that we do this stuff is because we can't find a job. I'm college educated. Nobody cares. Okay. There's no work. There's tens of thousands of people in the IT industry have lost their jobs. Microsoft over the last 2 years laid off over 20 something thousand employees. Dude, we don't have a leg to stand on, man. If I had the option to go work in a restaurant again, that's a guaranteed paycheck. Easy money. Easy money. In fact, I did it last year for the first time in years for about 2 months until the restaurant failed and went under. The jobs don't last. I was actually ecstatic to have it. I made a whopping $9 an hour, and I had to drive halfway across town to get to work. But you know what? I was happy to have the job, and I still did my work on the web. And I worked 7 days a week while I was there. But the restaurant fell apart, and the owners didn't feel like putting any money to it, and it just went to crap. It's the way it goes. I lost my job. So, how hard do YouTubers really work? Well, people say, how hard can it be to sit in front of a camera and just run your mouth? I agree. You know what? I have gaming channels on YouTube, and I'll tell you what. Just sit there and to learn the mechanics of a game, all the ins and outs of a video game, some being more complicated than others, and doing these playthroughs and nobody wants to see you train wreck. You got to be good at the game. And the other thing too, you have to really understand the game. What are you going to explain about the game in the video? Because if you're not talking to no one's listening, they're going to hit the back button. They're going to leave, right? So it seems like for me to sit in front of the camera like right now, you know what? I agree. This is not that hard. This is not that hard. It doesn't feel difficult. This doesn't feel complicated. But there's something that you don't realize about these people that seems like they're just sitting in front of the camera. Well, they had to build an audience, and I did that on Google Plus for years. I have brands at Google Plus that have hundreds. I have communities there with hundreds and hundreds of thousands of members. Okay, and I'm gonna show them to you. Like I said, I can practice what I preach, and I spent years and tens of thousands of hours building these brands. But you're right, it's probably not that hard. It doesn't seem that hard to sit in front of a camera. Well, a lot of people, if you look at people like Richard Review Tech USA, I can tell by watching his videos, He does not just go and turn on his computer and hit the start record button on his software, on his screen recording software, and just start running his mouth. You can tell that he did research on his subjects, and then he starts talking about them, right? You can tell he gets real in depth on a subject, and obviously he knows what he's preaching about. Okay, it wasn't a random thing. He, People like that can spend, and I've done it too. Man, I can tell you what. When I do my gameplay videos, when I did the classic arcade games, a lot of the classic arcade game reviews on Gamers Bay's channel, I did sometimes hours and hours and hours of research about the games. I want to learn everything I can. What can I talk about in the game? What can I throw in the description? To make the video more meaningful than me just sitting there with a controller just playing a game. Okay. So a lot of us do take pride. We do in the work that we do on the web, and there are some people, there are some bad actors out there that don't. And I can't speak for everybody. There probably are some people on YouTube that don't work that hard, but I think it's really unfair to judge everybody. Say, oh well, if one person doesn't work that hard and everybody else is lazy too, that doesn't make any sense. And like I said, anybody who's going to be judgmental of somebody else's work and the job that they do has never had a job. They've never worked. They would not disrespect anybody who's worked as hard as I have in my life. And I'll tell you what, when I was 18 years old, man, I was working 80, 90 hours a week when I was 18, just to scrape by, just to get by. And I was lucky. Thank God I was lucky, because today you can't even get a job at all. I can't sit here. I was privileged that I was able to have two jobs and go to work 80 or 90 hours a week. You know what? I'm not going to complain about it. I was very, very happy being able to have two jobs and be able to survive and keep a roof over my head, have a running car, and work for a living. And today it's like I feel like I don't have that option anymore. Now I just work and I earn nothing. You know why? Because revenue on the web is like dried up. Publishers are going broke. Okay, I know a thing or two about the media. I've been involved in this game for a long time. All right, now I'm going to show you some of the brands that I built, and I'm going to explain to you why this is a lot more complicated than you think, and why some people may work harder than others. So let's take a look. This is Strategic Social Networking, and as you know, this video was published to Strategic Social Networking's channel on YouTube, which is a relatively new channel. There's not a lot of videos here. We haven't done a lot with it yet. Well, this community has close to 160,000 members. Okay? And if you think that these people just showed up here on their own, you are sorely mistaken. Nope, that's not how it works. I spent tens of thousands of hours to build this audience, to build this brand. And if you look at the numbers, let me see here. Let me pull the mouse up. I'm going to capture the cursor. I don't know. They're kind of hard to see. 158,186 members. And you know what? We gain about 50 to 100 members a day that I worked to absolute death to achieve. This did not happen overnight. In fact, I have spent thousands upon thousands of hours writing articles for the audience in this community. And it was not easy. I mean, we started this community started one day after communities first launched on Google Plus back in 2012. This was one of the very first communities ever on Google Plus. You're looking at it. In fact, we basically set the path for what the acceptable social media etiquette, what the guidelines would be across the social network. Google actually adopted our guidelines into the way that they run their algorithms on the platform. If you read our community guidelines, Google's very closely reflect ours. And a lot of the communities, we share those same guidelines. But anyways, this was not easy to do. This was not easy to do, to get all these people here. And it wasn't easy for us to rank. And, yeah, I do gain. Here's an article I wrote, Censorship for Profit, a look at Facebook's greedy pay-to-play model. People like this stuff. I write, and that took me all day. That was like a 10-hour writing job right there to write that one article. It was not a walk in the park. And but people just assume, oh well, you just make money. These YouTubers have hundreds of thousands of subs, that they don't work that hard. No, dude, they do. A lot of them are working for years and years and years, and they spend tens of thousands of hours to build up their channels and get where they are today. Okay, let me show you another one. This travel photography community, 240,000 plus members in this community. You think these people just showed up here on their own? Nope, you're wrong. They're not. Yeah, you know what? Try moderating a community with 240,000 people. This is the spam folder. You know how many posts are flagged in here right now? And we've given up. We still do police this spam folder on a regular basis. This is spam. There's just a whole lot of people to have to keep track of. This is really ridiculous. I can spend hours and hours and hours moderating. You get people to get into fights. I have to play mediator, with people's content. We get people to do. There's a lot of deceptive, shady things that people do, unfortunately. And you can see this is just a total mess. Look at all this spam. Movie clip, celebrity movie clip, just a lot. People trying to make a fast buck from a cheap YouTube video. They're spammers on YouTube. Um, Unfortunately, this is what people do, and I have to deal with this crap every single day. Thousands and thousands, thousands. This one community alone can get over 500 posts flagged in a 24-hour period, which is really complicated. It's not easy to keep up with. And here's another brand. Here's one of my gaming brands. I have another one too, but this is one of them. And we have a whole team of people that work to manage this gaming brand, Gamers Bay, across a whole bunch of different social networks, including Facebook, Google Plus, YouTube, Twitter, and Pinterest and elsewhere. We just hit 15,000 people a couple days ago, and we started this community, we started Gamers Bay back in, I believe it was March of 2013. Not long, a few months after communities first got started. And this was not a walk in the park. This took a long time to build this audience. Okay, these people don't just show up. I mean, we had to work to produce content like this. The old school Game Vault, who's also a gaming retailer, by the way, he's written thousands of articles on his website. And then he posts them here and he engaged with these people. Here's a post I did a couple days ago about the Sega store online, the Sega shop. That's a really cool hoodie, by the way. But yeah, this is, you know what? I have personally posted in this community more times than I can ever count. It's a lot of work. You dig around for the latest news stories. Then I go to Gamers Bay channel. I've got to produce videos. That's thousands and thousands of hours of work. Okay. Oh, and by the way, it takes money to make money, and it's not free to produce content on the web. In fact, my laptop, my NVIDIA GeForce card, recently burnt out on me, and I don't have the money. I don't have the money to replace this computer. I'm trying to figure out what to do. How do I manage an entire media organization on the web with all these different brands? That's nothing. I have other stuff too that I spent tens of thousands of hours working on, and you know what? I'm scared I'm gonna lose control of it because this computer's just falling to crap. There's a short in the motherboard somewhere. It fried a whole bunch of stuff that I had connected to USB last week. My NVIDIA graphics card burnt out, and that's what I use to produce my videos for everything. For everything, that's what I was using. And the only reason I can still do videos now, I could do webcams like this, is because I have an integrated graphics chip as well in the computer, and that did not burn out yet. But without the NVIDIA graphics card, I've tried to run my games. They're not going to run. They just bog down. They're a blur, and it's not going to work. I've tried. And so, what do I do now? Well, guess what? This computer costs $1,400. This Asus PC, this Asus laptop that I bought back in mid 2014, and it's now defunct. I know it's going to fail. I know the motherboard's going to die next. And here I can't do my job now. We don't make money off of Google Plus. I spent years building brands there. We don't make money there. Okay, we're hoping, after we built up an audience, we really built brands. Now we're trying to make use of YouTube so that we can like pay our bills, so we can keep our lights on, so that we can survive. My car, I've already lost everything that I worked for. Okay, um, I've had good jobs in the past. At one point, when I was in college, I made $100 an hour. I drove a Cadillac to school every day. I made great money. Guess what? Those days are over. My car's gone. I had it towed off. I had junk last week. Okay, I can't afford to fix it. It's gone. We're probably, I don't know. I think we're about maybe $80,000 in debt. We've been living off of borrowed money for years, and now it's maxed out credit cards. I no longer have any income of any kind. We've defaulted on a lot of debts, and so my credit's ruined and stuff like that. So I also have people that work for me to manage these brands. And so it's not just me, it's the other people involved. I have to look out for what's in their best interest because they're struggling too and they have bills to pay too. And it really makes me angry when people get on YouTube and they make this assumption that people don't work that hard. Gamers Bay's administrator, Michael Haney, who manages a lot of the brand, and he's also a content producer for Gamers Bay's channel, and he's produced a lot of videos there, and he helps manage the brand on Google Plus, and he has put in 75-hour weeks, to produce content, manage these brands, and moderate on Google Plus, and keep the communities clean for you and clean and inviting place for everybody that wants to make use of them. So you're not being harassed when you get on the platform. People aren't trashing your content and so forth. They're trashing you. And then people go and insult people like him and me because they just assume that we don't work that hard. Dude, that's total BS. It's just not true, And it really, like I said, he works he works to death to do this stuff. And so yeah, I'm kind of at a point now where we spent years building brands. Yeah, revenue on the web's not good, economy's not good, and but I have a responsibility to protect these people. They've helped me to build my brands, and we're struggling. We need a way to produce revenue. Otherwise, everybody's gonna end up homeless in the street. I already know where this is going. Like I said, my phone got shut off this last month. My phone got shut off. Luckily, a relative got it turned back on. I owed like $300. I haven't paid it in months. I couldn't pay it. My car's gone. I no longer have a car. I don't know how I'm gonna get around. And I can't pay my bills anymore. And now this computer's dead. So we're trying to figure out what to do too. We are looking at Patreon. I'm going to set up a Patreon for Strategic. We're going to set up Patreon for Gamers Bay, but we may try. They also have YouTube sponsorships that are now available. We may try that as well for Gamers Bay, but meanwhile, we also may do Patreon, see if that works, because the ad revenue, it sucks. Okay, people go, oh, you got 1 million views in a video? Isn't that like $10,000? I actually saw that comment on a video on YouTube like a couple months ago. I was like, what? Dude, you can get 1 million views and make $100. You could get 1 million views right now on YouTube and make $10. Okay, 100,000 views on YouTube earns us maybe like 20, $25. Maybe. Sometimes it's less than that. Okay, that's for 100,000 views. And then you have channels that are more mainstream. They're news related, and it's not specific content. The keywords that target. That's another thing too. Advertisers target keywords. So they don't target news related stuff. They're trying to sell a product or a service that's specific. So they're going to target specific keywords. So if you're making game reviews, you target like retro games. They may target those keywords. Classic games. They may target those keywords. If you talk about AdSense and monetization, they may target keywords that are financially related to that. Okay, those channels are going to make money. You have channels like Rich of Review Tech USA, who probably doesn't make much money on his views. He gets 100,000 views and he probably makes like $20 or something, because if lucky, if even that, because of the simple fact that advertisers target keywords, and he has no descriptions in any of his videos. So a lot of it is at the fault of the YouTubers themselves. What's the point? They're killing themselves. They make all these videos. They're doing 5 or 10 videos a week, and they're just constantly knuckling at it. And then they go, "Man, I'm not making any money." And they didn't even bother to, Rich works really, really hard to produce his videos. I think he really does. But he's like shooting himself in the foot because he has no descriptions of his videos. And I think what Rich has failed to realize with his Review Tech USA channel is that, you know, advertisers target keywords. And if you don't have the keywords in your video, Google's going to pass you up and they're going to serve those ads somewhere else. They're going to serve them on somebody else's video. They're not going to serve them on your video, right? So that's why we give really in-depth descriptions on most of our videos, especially with the gaming channels. We don't mess around, man. We get real thorough. We like practically write a novel. We use keywords that are specific to the game and that are informational to users and helps Google and search engines to understand what the content is about so they can better match that target so we get more traffic from search engines like Google search, YouTube search, and Google image search. Yeah, you can get traffic from Google image search on YouTube too, because if you have if you use the proper file naming conventions on your YouTube thumbnails. But anyways, to sit here and say that YouTubers don't work that hard, man, you're preaching to the choir, brother. I worked in the restaurant, like I said, I worked in the restaurant industry for over a decade, sometimes 90 hours a week, and that is nothing. Walk in the park, any work that you do in a restaurant, dude, that is nothing compared to the work I or other creators do on the web, or Michael Haney, our admin for Gamers Bay. Dude, any work that you do in a restaurant compared to the work that we do here, it's nothing, dude. It's nothing. I could do that with my eyes shut. It's not stressful at all to work in a restaurant, other than the physical capacity of it. Yeah, you know what? You get angry customers in restaurants, and there are times when things are hard. I remember where I worked at Denny's. I worked at 2 Denny's restaurants at the same time, and that was kind of rough because they would throw me back and forth between each restaurant, and I would rather work in one than 2 different ones, right? And there were some employees that I had some coworkers I really could not stand, and it was hard. It was hard. That does happen too. And you get angry customers and you have people that are hard to deal with. But you get on the web, and I'll tell you what, it really messes with your head when you're trying to communicate with hundreds of thousands of millions of people. Psychologically, in many ways, it's very devastating. It's people practically, it makes you want to lose your mind. You do this for so many years and it breaks you down to nothing. Like me, I used to be a very social person in real life, and now, man, I don't go out in public anymore. I don't. I don't go to the mall anymore. There's a mall right across the street. I haven't been there in years. I am so drained after years of dealing with people on the air, millions of people on the internet, that I'm just burnt out. I'm physically and psychologically burnt out. And it's hard for me to communicate with people face to face outside of the internet. And I don't. I don't. I deal with a very, very, very small handful of people. But other than that, I mean, this has really broken me down mentally and physically. It's just destroyed me. So if I could work in a restaurant again, oh man, that would just be an absolute relief. You try to deal with all this negativity on the web and all this trash, you know, uh, this self-intolerated trash, people born with a silver spoon in their mouth telling you you don't work that hard, and they're driving mom and dads mom and dad buy them a car and been spoon feeding them since birth. They've never worked a day in their lives, and here you're working to absolute death. You get nothing for it, and you get people insulting you. It's hard. It's really, really hard to deal with. It is. This will break anybody. This will break anybody. YouTube especially, it will. And like I said, I've been lucky. I don't get a lot of negativity on my channels. Like I said, for whatever reason, I don't know why. I have not had like Gamers Bay, and it's been there for several years. We didn't start producing a lot of content on it until about a year ago. But I haven't really been hit by a lot of trolls there. But I noticed if I comment on other videos, just real innocent stuff, like it could be a Pac-Man video or something, and I'm just like involved in the conversation, or we talk about a movie or something, and somebody will always come along and start threatening me or harassing me, and I'm like, dude, what the heck? I'm like, what did I do? I'm like, why are you attacking me? There's just some really mentally deranged people on YouTube, and like all this politically motivated crap on YouTube. People, try to use their hatred for humanity as it seems like they use their political beliefs to justify their hatred for humanity. It's really pathetic. Oh yeah, you have millions of people on Google Plus, and their only opinion that matters, and the only opinion that's right is their own, nobody else's. And there's no compromise. There's no compromise to these people. You notice that they're always right. You can't argue with them. And there's no A B conversation. It's always them. You know what? I just stay out of that. I don't get involved with all the political garbage. I just stay out. I like mostly with YouTube. I get on here and I talk about like with strategic. I talk about like information technology related stuff, social media, and like with the Gamers Bay, it's all video games, and that's all we talk about. We talk about games. We play games. And we have fun because you know why? I'd rather be positive. I don't want to be negative about stuff. I mean that's not cool. If you're really that angry and you really have that much hatred for humanity, you probably don't belong in social media. That's just my thought in the matter. I don't know about everybody else, but I would rather have fun on the web with the work I do. I would rather enjoy it. I'd rather be positive about it, and I'd rather not cut people down because that doesn't make me feel good. What do you have to feel proud about running around the web, harassing people, threatening people, and throwing insults at every single content creator on YouTube? I don't understand that. I think the people doing that, I think they're just angry because they're fat, ugly, and they can't get laid. Whatever the case is, I don't know. But there's something's not right. They're mentally deranged, and it's hard to imagine anybody has that much hate in their heart, or no heart at all for that matter. But unfortunately, there's people like that out there, and we just have to try to tolerate it. But yeah, so there you have it. I showed you my brands, I showed you my media, so you can get a kind of an idea of what I'm talking about. Like Gamers Bay, man, it's 5 years of work. Strategic, that's gonna be as of December the 7th, I think, or whatever day it was. It started back in 2012. Coming, just a couple more months here, it will be 5 years old, and man, I worked for thousands and thousands and thousands of hours moderating on Google Plus, cleaning spam folders, writing articles for the audiences. We even did paid promotions. It was a lot of work, and here we've never even been paid for it. I did get paid in 2014 out of the kindness of a few people's hearts. The co-founder Strategic, I used to get paid. And finances went south, and I don't get paid anymore. I came 2015, I wasn't getting paid anymore. It sucks, but that's just the way it goes. But I'm forever grateful for what he did for me. And he's a lot more private than me. Like, he won't get up in front of the camera. He's not gonna do this like I'm doing right now. I'm kind of camera shy myself. I'm getting better about getting in front of the camera. Now I don't have a choice. I realize now that if I don't get up in front of the camera, run my mouth, then I can't make videos because I can't do any of my gameplays. I can't do any of my game reviews for Gamers Bay or any of my other channels. I have other channels too, but I can't do any videos for them, game reviews or let's plays or anything because my NVIDIA GeForce card is fried. So that's the other thing too. It costs money to do business here, and I don't have $1,400 to replace a computer. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm waiting. Luckily, a friend of mine said he's going to try and get me a new computer. He said he can't guarantee it. He's going to get back to me next week. He's going to try to get me a new laptop. Um, I've already looked around. It's about $900, $1,000 to replace this computer right now. Anything cheaper than that is not going to have powerful enough hardware to run my OBS screen capture software and my games. I'm not going to be able to do it. I already know from experience with this. I have a Core i7 in here and a GT 745, and dude, I have some games I cannot record at 1080. It's not gonna work. It's not powerful enough. So I need a new computer anyway in order to continue doing my job. So yeah, you add in the cost. Another thing too is people buy games and then they buy things like capture cards and consoles and all the add-ons. Man, that stuff all costs money. It all costs money. It costs a lot of money to produce content on the web. Controllers. I just picked up a new Xbox One controller for Windows about a week ago. That was $60. Man, well, if I don't have a controller, I can't play the games. If I can't play the games, I can't do reviews. Okay, stuff is not free. And again, anybody who says that we don't work that hard or that we shouldn't get paid for working for a living is just stupid. That's just ridiculous. Yeah, I should just, oh, I just shouldn't pay my electric bill. Dude, we all have bills to pay. I'm glad, for the self-entitled trash that honestly believe that that we all don't work that hard. We don't all, that we don't have bills to pay. It's just a total fool. All right. The lights aren't going to stay on their own. Electric company doesn't work like that. We have to pay our bills. Okay. The phone company wants their money at the end of the month. All right. My computer dies. I can't do my job. If I can't replace the computer, it costs money. And make on top of that, you get 1,000 views in a YouTube video and you make 35 cents. Yeah, it's crap. The ad revenue is crap. You should just assume that, oh, the YouTubers make so much money. That's not true. There are some people that got rich off of YouTube, but honestly, they're like really, really few and far between. It's not that many. It really is not. But anyways, I wanted to give, and I'm not telling anybody what to think about how hard people work. Like I said, this is not as hard. For me to sit in front of the camera right now, this is not as hard as doing the gameplay videos. That is a lot harder. That's a lot more complicated. Like doing the classic arcade games and trying to get those running in emulators and stuff, and you have to tweak a whole bunch of stuff. That gets really, really complicated really, really quickly. And it's not always a walk in the park to do that. It can get really, really tough, and I have to tweak hardware and software on my computer too a lot of times because it bogs down my graphics card, my processor, and that's what fried my graphics card was doing all of the gameplays for Gamers Bay and other my other channels. But anyways, I wanted to give my input on that. I wanted to put in my 2 cents. People say, "Oh, you don't work that hard." Well, you know what? You have no. I'm telling them, you really don't have room to talk. Again, you're going to tell me that me working in the restaurant industry for a decade was not a real job? Okay, then how can you say that running a media organization on the web or building brands and building audiences, creating content on the web is not a real job? You wouldn't know. You haven't done both. I have. I've worked in the media for the last 5 years. Look at the humongous media organization I built that my friend helped me build. We worked together on for years. Look, I have communities on Google Plus. One has almost a 250,000 members, and you're going to tell me that we don't work that hard. We don't know that I don't know anything about media. I would think I definitely do if I could build an audience like that. And like I said, I'm proof. I am proof. I worked in the restaurant industry for over a decade. You do not have to. Any moron can work at a restaurant. It does not require any intelligent thought. It does not. It's simple. It's easy. I started doing it when I was 14 years old, walking a park. I was still doing it when I turned 21. Nothing. I would go do today for $9 an hour. And at a few points in time, I had some jobs in the restaurant in the restaurant industry. Denny's, man, I made $35 an hour. That was back in the late 90s. That was back in the late 90s. I made $35 an hour working at Denny's. I could make $100 for over $100 for a 5 hour shift, no problem. It's nothing. I walk out of there with $150, $200 on a Friday night. Man, I made good money. Of course, like, everybody hit on me for, and I think that's why I don't know what the deal was. I got hit on a lot, but yeah, they gave me money. I was waiting tables, and the tips were really good. You had to deal with some, there were angry, like I said, you had angry customers. You got hit on. Some of the cooks were hard to deal with, and some of the other coworkers. I had some servers I didn't care for. You just have to deal with that. But man, for $35 an hour, it was really good money. But $9 an hour, that gets tricky because you work in a restaurant. $9 an hour is not much. Well, people on the web don't typically even earn that much. They earn about, I mean, they're really lucky on the internet. You're really lucky to earn about $4 or $5 an hour. So you're actually not even making minimum wage. Yeah, I know it's hard to believe that. You could work 100 hours a week on the web and literally earn $1 an hour. Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of money on the internet. Websites are doing even worse. They're doing even worse than YouTubers are because the traffic levels like to a website are like, the revenue's not that good. 100,000 views like on one of my websites, I think earns me maybe $10, $8 or $10 for 100,000 views. I've given up on it completely. And I spent thousands and thousands of hours coding it by hand. It was something I loved to do. That was my bad. I really enjoyed doing it, but I mean, for $8 for 100,000 views, yeah, I'm not going to keep putting energy into that. There's too many thousands of hours of coding and too much work to update it. And then Google changes the rules, like they did with all this demonetization garbage on YouTube. But and I am interested to hear what other people have to say. You're welcome to share your thoughts. But I will say this. Yeah, you're welcome to share your thoughts below in the comments section below. Please be mindful. Please don't come at me with any profanity. Please keep it clean. I'm not kidding either, because if you start hurling insults at us, we're gonna kick you out. Your account's gonna get suspended. We don't play. We moderate for Google. I have been for 5 years, and if you disagree with me, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But just try to be respectful with your responses, and I'll do the same. I'll be respectful to you. And I'm open to hearing other people's opinions about this, but I just wanted to let that out. I disagree with these people saying that these YouTubers do not work that hard. I think they do, and I think some probably do work harder than others. I will agree with that. I will agree with that. This is easier for me to sit in front of a camera and run my mouth versus, man, just gameplay videos, some of that stuff. I spent days and days and days to cut a single video. It's a lot of work. The communities on Google Plus, that took tens of thousands of hours of hard work. To produce this video does not take tens of thousands of hours of hard work. So, yeah, I think there's two sides to every coin, and I think that people shouldn't be so judgmental. But I am interested to hear what your thoughts on the matter is. But at the same time, I also want to give that reminder that, if you work for a living and you have a job, you really shouldn't be so judgmental. You shouldn't, you should be respectful to other people's hard work. You wouldn't want people to insult you in a job that you do. You shouldn't insult others as well. That's as the saying goes, do unto others you would have them do unto you. That's just my thoughts on the matter. As far as our situation goes, I hope that we can start finding some revenue from this soon. Strategic's channel is brand new. It's not as old as the community. It's going to take some time to grow that, but we do hope to get revenue out of YouTube at some point, and maybe Patreon, and a few maybe products that we could sell and so forth. I'm keeping my fingers crossed because, unfortunately, like in my situation, my health has not been all that great. It's gotten better this year. I suffer from migraines 5 days a week. I have medications for it though, and I have issues with my nervous system. It doesn't work right, and I'm literally crippled at times. But my health's gotten better, so I'm just keeping my fingers crossed. It's gonna stay that way. But anyway, I just want to give my 2 cents to this situation. that's that, man. I can't believe how hard I've worked on the web for all these years, and I got nothing for it. Here, I can't pay my electric bill, and the only reason that I still eat dinner is because of a few friends that have been helping me out the last 2 years to help keep me afloat and make it possible for me to still have food and my coffee, and I still have internet and stuff. And now with the computer, I don't have money for that. My friend's gonna try to help me out the best he can, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully, I get a new computer. If not, then this might be game over for Gamers Bay and strategic social networking and all this other stuff that I put my heart and soul into. I hope that doesn't happen. But anyways, if you like the video, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comment section below. Please be respectful about it. I'm not kidding you. If you don't, if you can't, then just don't even bother. Just leave. And that's that, because we won't tolerate it here. And definitely check out Strategic Social Networking Community on Google Plus. There'll be a link below in the description. And if you're into video games, you can also check out Gamersbay's channel. Gamersbay also has a community on Google Plus. You can check that out as well. Strategic is mainly IT based content. Information technology, we talk a lot of there's a lot of tech bloggers. We talk a lot about social media, search engine optimization, subjects like that, marketing, social media marketing, entrepreneurship, and those types of subjects. So if you're into that kind of stuff, do check out the community. The people there are very, very friendly. It's not like YouTube, which is people rarely ever fight or argue. Out of 160,000 members, it's very, very, very positive-minded community. Very, very clean. It's well moderated. There's no spam. We do keep tabs on things. Anyways, I do appreciate everybody watching and taking the time to listen to what I had to say, my thoughts on the matter. Like I said, I felt like I had some room to talk here because I am not new to media. I have been operating media organization on the web since 2012. I wanted to put in my 2 cents, and many thanks for watching, and until next time, take care.